let me use the opportunity to, first of all, so that I don't forget, thank the various partners who have come together to support this process, which is something that we've been doing for a number of years now. Thanks to the National Peace Council and the work that they've been doing for the nation. But let me also say that this partnership has been expanded, particularly for this electoral cycle, to also include the National Center for the Coordination of Early Warning and Response, NCCRM. The director is here with us. I want to thank them also for the partnership in this regard. Of course, all this wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have the funding and technical partnership from the EU, who provide the support across many countries, not just in Ghana. The entire project is being run in 12 different countries in West Africa. Ghana is quite strategic in the project, but it's not the only one. I need to mention that. As a broad project, it's being implemented also in partnership at the regional level, in partnership with ECOWAS and UNOWAS, as well as ECONEC. So I want to also use the opportunity to recognize them for being part of this. And we also have the African Union that accompanies the process. And so it's really a very broad project overall. In the case of Ghana, as I mentioned, in addition to the funding that we have received from the EU, we also have funding from the Austrian Development Agency and the Swedish International Development Agency, who provide core funding to the operations of WANEP.
Governing Board of the National Peace Council, I also would like to welcome all of you to this year's Situation Room. My colleague had already shared with you some of the things that we're expecting. What I want to add is that sometimes people see a lot of things happening in this country, but they don't know the people who are behind the wheel that makes things happen. And this week, you are being part of those who are behind the wheel, helping this country to be stable. And therefore, your role in the Situation Room this year is vital to the work of WANEP and the National Peace Council in ensuring that this whole electoral process comes to an end in a very peaceful manner.
First is to I acknowledge the fact that we have 510 observers deployed for this election. 309 observers from WANEP, and then 191 from National Peace Council. So totaling 510. And they have been deployed across the regions in relative terms, not in the same equal number. Why that is so is it's defined or dependent on the assessments we have done where we identify particular hotspots. So the degree of the hotspot also informs the deployment of our observers. So you will find that some regions have higher observers than others. We have various divisions in the Situation Room. Let me start with the data gatherers. On my left, if you look at on my left, we have young, vibrant data gatherers, 31 of them. They are going to be linked to the observers in the field. So they have already been debriefed, and then from today to tomorrow, they will be getting to familiarize themselves with the observers that have been allocated to them. And so through them, we will be receiving data, which will also be imputed into our online platform. It's a live online platform that once you're submitting data in it, you're seeing what is going on across the various polling stations and also the various regions. The data cannot be meaningful if we don't interpret what it is. And so we have a group of, if you like, call them eggheads, But they are experts in various dimensions. We have plenty doctors in that particular section. If you look at my right, and yes, we have lawyers, we have peace experts, we have statisticians, peace and security experts. I think there are 7 of them. So their job is to interpret what data is coming in. Through their interpretation, we come up with the various press statements that we are going to make. So we rely on them to make meaning out of the data that is being submitted. And then just behind them, the ED has already acknowledged the work of the fact checkers, Dubois. So we have also within the fact checkers AI expertise within that group who will be able to fact check and identify where we are getting misleading information or those who intentionally want to disinform. And then behind them, we have the communication section. There are 2 sections on that, but I think they do the same job, both in various ways. For WANEP, we have 3. For National Peace Council, we have 7. So there are a total of 10 in that communication section. Then there's a coordination team, all the administrative components to make sure that everything is going well. And then just outside this room, just a brief walk, you will get the decision room. And that is where you have the eminent persons. The chair of the Peace Council and the board of the National Peace Council are there. The NCCRM is also there as well, and also the key stakeholders are there as well. They make the decision in terms of how the situation room responds to the issues. So there are 15 in number. In terms of the press conferences, the decision room are also the ones that take the responsibility of the debriefings for the various press conferences, which one starts today, that we use to officially open our situation room. We also have regional election response groups, which are clustered in 11 regions. We have the Upper East, we have Savannah, we have Bono, we have Upper East, we have Ashanti, Bono East, Greater Accra, Northern, Northeast, Western, and Volta.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Once again, we welcome you to the WANEP NPC Situation Room. This is our decision room. We have 2 delegations from here, from ECOWAS and also from SRSG, also with us today, and then also the other excellencies with us.
The reason is simple. We want to know what you are doing, what you have found, how the progress is, so that we can add to our knowledge of really what is happening in the election countrywide. ECOWAS have maybe 1/3 of your observers. You have far more observers than ours. So we will be very pleased to share the information you have with our own team, so that it will improve the whole actions for monitoring the election. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We are not observers. As UN, we don't have mandate to be observers, but we are friends of Ghana. And we've been working with your institutions for quite some time with the aim of improving or increasing their capabilities to run peaceful elections. So, having arrived today, we are here with you to learn from you and how things are going, and also to appreciate and encourage you to continue to do the work you are doing. And we know that peaceful elections do not happen by chance. They happen as a result of a systematic and organized work carried out by people like yourselves. So our presence is meant to encourage you to continue with that way. Thank you very much, Chairman.
The issues we're dealing with today are varied. Beginning from the start of polls, we monitored places where the polls started on time. From our monitors, I think as at 7 o'clock, we had 63% of the places that we monitored that started on time. The others were between 7:30 and about 9:40 when all the others came on. So we monitor all of these things, and where necessary, we talk to the EC to determine what needs to be done. We've had incidents in some of the polling stations where there were some misunderstandings, and we've sought clarity in terms of some of these things. We communicate again with the EC to determine what needs to be done. Out of the 655 reports submitted on the voting process by our correspondents, 98.3% of them indicated that voters on the electoral roll had been verified using the biometric verification device or manually. Additionally, male and female security personnel were observed at the polling stations. There were a few incidents that came to our attention. At the Kawubi section electoral area of the Sola Tuna Kaba constituency in the Savannah region, with polling station code number N020201, 77 parliamentary ballot papers were found to have faces of other parliamentary candidates belonging to another constituency. Additional information indicates that all 77 ballot papers were withdrawn and then the voting continued. A few security issues. Again, the Ghana Police Service reported that an EC official in the Kintampo South constituency of the Bono East region has been arrested for allegedly issuing about 15 ballot papers to voters that omitted the first presidential candidate at the Apesika Bayere polling station. The Ghana Police Service confirmed a shooting incident at Nyankpala in the northern region, leading to 1 death and 1 person injured. 4 suspects have been arrested in connection with the shooting incident and are currently assisting the police with investigation. Welcome once again, members of the media, for being with us. After 3 days of hard work, this evening we will be closing the situation room. Despite reported incidents in some polling stations, the voting process proceeded without major complaints and in accordance with the electoral process. Out of 1,952 reports on the voting process, 98.7% indicated that voters on the electoral roll were verified using the biometric verification device or manually. Additionally, male and female security personnel were observed at the polling stations. Furthermore, 86.6% revealed mobile phones or electric gadgets used were prevented in the voting booths. Closing of polls. The election situation room observers reported that voting ended peacefully in most of the constituency except for some isolated cases of physical and verbal attacks, including a confirmed shooting with 2 fatalities and injuries. Out of 348 reports recorded at the closing of the polls, 92% indicated that the voting process closed at 5 p.m. In accordance with the electoral procedure, 96% of the election situation recordings revealed that counting began immediately after polls closed, in the presence of all the required actors and without major interruptions. There were a few lessons learned during the last 3 days. I want to share some of them with you. Number one, we learned that the signing of the Presidential and Parliamentary Peace Pact is essential to committing political party candidates and their supporters to peaceful elections and acceptance of their outcomes. 2, early concession of defeat by presidential and parliamentary candidates is vital to those electoral tension in the post-election period. Timely and effective communication by the EC is essential in all phases of the electoral process to dispel rumors and suspicion among political parties and their supporters. 4, stronger collaboration between the National Peace Council and other key stakeholders such as the NCCE, the EC, WANEP, the National Election Security Task Force, the National Center for Coordination of Early Warning and Response Mechanism, NCCRM, is necessary to enhance information dissemination at all levels, especially at the community level. 5, highly trained officials of the EC with requisite knowledge of the electoral procedures are imperative to effectively manage the voting process to enhance credibility and trust in the system. 6, media professionalism and fact-checking are key in preventing information disorder. 7, the presence of international and domestic election observer missions enhances the credibility of the electoral process. 8, enhanced civic awareness of the electoral process contributed to the inclusiveness, credibility, and integrity of the elections. And 9, swift action on the part of the police to reported incidents of crime contributed to enhancing the credibility of the police and integrity of the process. We express our appreciation to the international and domestic election observers for monitoring the electoral processes. We commend His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for upholding his commitment to the Presidential Peace Pact in his concession speech this morning. We also congratulate His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for his social media acceptance of the concession by the NPP presidential candidate. We encourage the EC, political parties, and other relevant government institutions to consider the implementation of recommendations from the report of domestic and international election observer missions to improve electoral processes in the country. As we bring the election situation room to a close, we use this opportunity to appreciate all our partners. Thank you very much for participating in this process.
Thank you very much.